So, Harsh, one of the things that you mentioned was that in certain cases there might be a bias towards Singaporean students as opposed to international students. So, similar on a similar line, are there challenges that are faced by international students in securing employment?
So, securing employment again, I think it depends upon the area that you want to work in. Because let's say for me, a master's student who wanted to go into teaching or research, it was very tough because there are only three big universities in Singapore. There are
Yeah.
only a handful number of research centers. And because these, let's say NUS is a government college, let's say, government funded. So they would have this priority for Singaporean nationals because, of course, at the end of the day, you want your nationals to have these opportunities at universities which are government funded. So, of course, I think for teaching and research, it's something that is a bit tougher, especially because I didn't have, let's say, a PhD. If I had a PhD, maybe it would have been a bit easier. Or maybe it's also wrong time, wrong place because the research centers weren't hiring during that time. Um,
Oh,
I think in the past half a year, all of these research centers have opened calls. So if I was there, I think because I'm an NUS student, I would get that preference as well in these research centers. So I think it's kind of the double edge where some places maybe there would be that bias, but you just have to show that you have to show that you are better than these other candidates. And I think that's also something that might be asked of these research centers. Maybe the government might ask them, why did you choose this person over, let's say, Mr. X, who's a Singaporean national? And they have to bring up these reasonings that we chose him because he had this X factor that the other person didn't have. So I
okay.
think in other areas there is that bias. But that being said, it does not mean that you cannot get a job over there. You can get a job over there. It's just that you have to try and the areas that you want to work in. I think that's a very important factor.
Need to
I
get that done early on,
I
I think.
from job. I mean, no matter what I do, it wouldn't make sense for me to stay in Singapore in a law firm if I want to teach. It makes more sense for me to come to India where I have such a great opportunity right now
Yeah,
and focus on, let's say, I'm teaching as well and I'm also working in research centers. So I think it depends upon that.
of course.
So
Uh, so I think you've kind of answered this question before, like, does Singapore allow students to stay and look for employment after the completion of the course? So I think we can skip this one. Uh, just a last question on employment opportunities. So after coming back to India, what kind of does it lead to enhancement in one's employability? Did you experience that? Of course, in your case, I would say it's kind of different because you wanted to go for a teaching job, and without an LLM, you wouldn't have been eligible. But can you comment on it in a general sense?
So, I mean, as you already mentioned, for me, I need an LLM. I can't teach just with a bachelor's. That wouldn't have made sense. But I mean, if you do have a look at all of the LLM graduates once they do come back, um, it does help. But then again, I would not say it's the LLM tag that's helping them. It's whatever they've learned and whatever they want to do. They already know what they want to do. First of all, I don't think you do an LLM just because you've completed your bachelor's. You do an LLM because you want to specialize in a particular area. You at least know that. So if you
Yeah.
already have that in mind, let's say that I want to do the IPR course at NUS, and then I want to come back to India, you already have it in your mind that I want to work in India in a law firm. If you have that vision already, I think it would help you. But if you're just saying that, oh, I'll do an LLM, my name, I'll have the NUS brand, and then I'll get a job, that might not work because you need to have that vision. And even to get into NUS, you need to have that vision. You can't just fake your way saying that I'm very passionate about this area. I don't think it would help. So it's an enhancement of one's skills, which then helps them in employability. So I think it's not a direct correlation. It's a step-by-step process that way.